Hello educators. Artificial intelligence has been a hot topic for the past few months and is causing quite a stir in the field of education. Some people are with it, some people are against it. Today I'll be talking about one of the most famous and the most powerful content generation tools, ChatGPT. Many of you might have already heard of ChatGPT, some might already be using it. Regardless of your familiarity with ChatGPT, there will be something for you in this video. I'll be talking about what ChatGPT is, how to create an account, and how to make best use of it. And I'll also be giving you some applications of ChatGPT that can make your life as a teacher and educator, and maybe even for students, a whole lot easier. So stick around. Okay, so what is ChatGPT? ChatGPT is basically, it's a chatbot. It's a robot or an artificial intelligence that you could chat with as if you're chatting with someone on like Facebook Messenger or WhatsApp or whatever chatting tool you use. And it has been given a vast amount of information that allows it to answer your questions in a human-like manner. It was taught how to generate sentences like a human would. So unlike Google, where you type a question and it just searches using the keywords, no, it actually answers your question as would a normal human. So you can basically ask it anything you want, a cooking recipe, to write you a lesson plan, to give you a script for a presentation that you want to do, to give you the content that you want for a presentation, to simplify a certain lesson or a certain concept, to give you differentiation strategies and skills for your lessons for language learners or for learning support students. Literally anything you want, you can ask it and it will do it for you. You can ask it to write you an article, a paper, a blog post, a script for a YouTube video, anything you want. So it's like the pro version of a search engine. So the first thing that you want to do is to go to this website right here. You type chat.openai.com and it'll take you to this page here. We'll ask you just verify that you're not a robot. So you do that. And then obviously if you don't have an account, you'll need to sign up first. So when you click sign up, it'll ask you to fill out few details. If you want to log in with Google, if you're logged in already into your Google account, you can click here and then it'll ask you to just click on the certain Google email that you want to log in through, and you can click on that and it'll take you right through the login page. It will ask you for a few details, for example, like your phone number, your name, your date of birth, just some basic information, but it needs your phone number. That's the only sort of very private piece of information that you need to give out to ChatGPT. You need to create an account. And the reason that you need to create an account to use ChatGPT is that ChatGPT learns more about you through the ways you interact with it. The questions that you ask it, it learns more about your style and what your interests are, so that when you do search later on, it customizes the results and the output that it will give you based on your interests. It will know, for example, that you're probably a teacher if you're always asking it about educational content, instructional strategies, lesson plans. It will know more about you. That's why you need to create an account. So once you do create an account, you'll come to this page right here. So this is my account. As you can see here, you'll have a history of all the search prompts that you gave it before. Tell you what in case you want to go back to something that you searched before and get the output that ChatGPT gave you. But if you're a first-time user, this is what your homepage for ChatGPT would be like. Now here for me it says ChatGPT Plus because I'm using the paid version because it gives you better outputs, more customized outputs, and you just have more functionality as a Plus member. But if you're using the free version, it's completely fine as well. So now here you have your text prompt section. Now, the way that you ask ChatGPT the questions is the most important part of how you interact with ChatGPT, because how you ask the question will determine the accuracy, you could say the correctness of the response that you will get. Let's say, for example, so let's give it a test prompt. Let's ask it to write an article on the importance of AI in education. Now this is a very, you could say, a mundane prompt. Anyone can write this, and the output will also be very mundane. It won't be innovative or creative because the prompt, the question that I gave it was very, you could say, bland. It didn't contain any keywords, no restrictions or limitations or how I want the output to look like. So let's see what it will give us. So it will keep typing for a little bit because it's thinking actually, and it'll give you the response. It'll take a few seconds. All right, so it's done. So as you can see here, it wrote an article. It looks pretty good. It has an intro. It divided the article into sections, and it has a conclusion, and it looks pretty well organized, right? Although the prompt that I gave wasn't really anything special. All right, so let's try this. The best way to interact with ChatGPT is to tell it what you want it to act like, whom you want it to impersonate. So, for example, here it wrote about the importance of AI in education as a normal random person would. If a person were just to do some research online, put a few paragraphs together, that's what it would look like. However, let's see this. If I ask it to act as an expert educational technologist, use only reliable resources, and include citations. Write an article on the importance of AI in the field of education. Now you see what I did here? I gave it a starting point. I told it what I wanted to act as. So the person that should be writing the article here should be someone that has a scientific research background, academic background, knows about technology, knows about education. I want it to use reliable resources because some of the information that it might give you might not necessarily be very accurate because it's just using information that was given to it, data that it has, and all that. Not all the data might be reliable. And I wanted it to include in citations, so I know if I want to fact check it, I could go to the exact resource that it got the information from, and I could check the information there. So I could stop here, but you could even give it more details. For example, I could even tell it how long I want the article to be. The article should be about 500 words only. And let's say also I wanted to include something specific in the article. For example, I wanted to talk about the applications of AI in education. I could ask it this. Include a segment that talks about the applications of AI in the classroom. Now, let's see how different the output is going to be this time. Right, so there, now it's done. You can see here that the article follows the same organized manner that it did before. Now it has all those requirements that I asked it for. It looks a little bit more academic, more scientific, more reliable because it contains citations. It contains the section that I asked it for, which is applications of AI in education. And you have here the citations at the very end. It has a conclusion and it has citations. So depending on how you ask it for what you want, the response will change dramatically. Now, other uses, you could ask it, for example, to write you a lesson plan. You can give it the topic. You could give it the sections that you want the lesson plan to have. For example, an intro, independent practice, guided practice, formative assessments. You can ask it for ideas on formative assessments. You can ask it for strategies to modify the lesson for learning support students, for language learners. And for students that struggle anyway, for gifted and talented learners, and it'll give you ideas for all of that. And it'll actually write you a full lesson plan with all the requirements that you gave it. So play around with it, do a few test runs, make sure you give it a lot of information in the prompt so that it can give you the exact output that you're asking for without having to keep repeating your questions until you get what you want.